Right. So, definitely pretty quiet morning so far. Hopefully, hopefully we'll see some action coming in here. Um, oh, nice. Good job, man. What did you trade? Oh, cool. Oh yeah, I guess the short float is pretty high on that. I wasn't even thinking about it. Yeah, I was looking at it as it was coming up, but it's a higher float stock, so I wasn't really planning on trading it. Especially because yeah, it's going up fairly slow, but I guess it's gone up 25% already. Well, we'll see. We'll see if we get some continuation on this here. Um, if it keeps going up, I'll take a trade on it definitely. Um, but yeah, I haven't taken any trades this morning yet. I was looking at SNGX, the chart up over here. Um, I was thinking about buying it as it came back up over 2 here, but I didn't end up doing it just because the volume was really light when it was coming up originally. So I just let it go, but it really only went from 2 to $2.34. That is true. You see the opportunities, you got to take them, man. And increasing volume on SKT, which is nice. If I had caught it, when it pulled back here, it pulled all the way down to 2182. Like buying it as it came back up over 22, that would have been nice. I feel like right now I don't really have a good entry for it, unfortunately. Yeah, and I've been manually turning on my scanners like when I wake up in the morning, so they usually don't turn on until like 6 o'clock. I need to make them like automatically turn on at 4, just in case people want to trade real early and something is actually moving. Still going up. Volume is looking good. Like it's about to break over 23 here. Um, I would want this to pull back a little bit. Like maybe pull back to 2250. Or, the high of this 2260, something like that. And then as it came back up, when there was a setup, I would take that. It's just pushing right now. Nothing can stop it. That's interesting. I wonder what this company does, and I wonder if there was like a trigger for it. News at 2 o'clock in the morning said Wall Street bets. Oh, so this is a Wall Street bets stock. It's gotten too bad when the TD news has Wall Street bets in it. It's not good. uh, it did an offering like a week and a half ago. So, but yeah, like you said, I mean, if things start squeezing, you got to take it, right? Right now, it's the only thing in the market that has moved up more than 25% today. There was a few stocks earlier today, AESE and SNGX, that had, but they both pulled back like literally the entirety of their move. Um, so, God, SKT is just moving a straight line right now. I need this thing to pull back a little bit. Give me an entry point. Maybe I should make a scanner just for like higher short float stocks. Could be a good idea. Yeah, maybe I'll add that this weekend. The problem is just because they have a high short float doesn't mean like they're going to squeeze, you know. So it's like you kind of have to wait until you see volume coming in. Pulling back a little bit now. See? KT. Oh man, just immediately broke up. Dude, missing out right now. I'm gonna try to get in for this break over 23. Get a little pullback here. See if I can buy in the bid. Just bought 10 shares. Our stop is gonna be pretty tight. Keep it at 23.70. And we'll see if we can break over 24 here. Oh yeah, my bad, David. I was running a little late this morning, so what's going on? Alright, let's see if we get the break over 24. If not, yeah, I'll sell off pretty quick. And then hopefully we'll get in for like a real setup. So I really just bought these shares just because this thing was like going off, and I wanted at least a small position that then, as it moves up, I can add to it, and then my cost basis won't be as bad as it starts pushing up. So if it breaks over 24.50 here, I'll add. As long as we're holding above 24, we're still looking good. A lot of selling coming into 24.25. Some daily chart here. This thing's looking like. So there's definite resistance at 25. But at least as far as I can tell, we're not really at like a daily point of resistance. But yeah, 25 is gonna be a definite point where we're gonna have to be careful. We're pushing below 24 right now. This is fine at the moment. Thing has had like a crazy run, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get a pullback here. I'd actually be kind of happy because then I can get in with like an actual setup. But we're pushing up, so 24.40 we hit. Like I said, if we break up through this 24.50 level, I'd be willing to buy a few more shares. And then target price to sell off is going to be $25, or between 24.80 and 24 and 25. Yeah, I mean the news on TD says Wall Street Bets was talking about this stock, so I don't know. I don't know if that's 100% true, but alright, so we're pulling back down a little bit. So all of the dips below 24 are getting bought up pretty well. I'm still fine holding right here. Like I said, small position. I got in kind of high, so I'm not so worried about this like turning around on me. And it's just been, so strong that I wanted to buy in at some point just to have a position. So broke up here. I'm gonna try to buy a few more shares on the bid. Okay, so I bought 10 more shares. My cost base is now 24.23. So as long as we're holding above this previous dip here, which is at like 23.90, I'm still fine with holding this. Like I said, price target is going to be closer to 25, like 25.80 and 25, or 24.80 and 25. Probably sell off half my shares when it pushes up to that, and then we'll see if it can break over 25. Yeah, like I said, that 25 number is coming from the daily chart. It looks like there is quite a bit of resistance there previously, so. Yeah, and it's hard to buy a lot of shares on this right now just because there's no good setup because nothing is really pulling back. On like the 1 minute chart, it just has like, I don't know what this is, like 15 green candles in a row with this tiny little red candle here. So volume's also coming down a little bit from the peak back here. So unless we see like more volume coming in as we push up to 25, it's probably a good idea to take some shares off. All right, so I'm gonna take a few shares off up there. Like as we approach 25, I took off 5 shares there. Um, Still holding 15 shares. See if we can get the breakthrough 25. If we start coming back down, then I'll take off a few more shares, like under 75. But it's looking really strong right now, so I'm going to try to hold as many as I think is going to be good. Holding as many as I can without losing the profit I've made on this trade. So we're pushing up. Trying to get a good fill there as it pushed up. So I sold another 5 shares, but it's still looking crazy good here. Higher volume, like highest volume candle so far in this breakthrough 25. Yeah, it just keeps pushing, man. So yeah, now we want it to hold above 25. I'll probably take off a few more shares just in case we get a little bit of a pullback here. And then if we get a pullback, then I could buy in with some more shares. Nice. Now this thing going crazy. Alright, so we're pulling back this 1 minute candle. We'll see how this 1 minute holds up. And on the 5 minute, obviously ultra extended. On the 1 minute, also ultra extended. So if this pushes below 25 here, I'll sell off my shares. And then, yeah, so sell off my shares. See if we can get a pullback, and then I can buy back in on the way up. So I'd like at least like one red 1 minute candle here. Just because this thing has been going in a straight line up and it really hasn't given us a chance to get a real setup. So in 30 seconds, as long as this 1 minute candle holds red, that's good for us. And then we could buy on the pushback up through 25. But I mean, it seems like it's getting bought up already. See if I can get a few shares if it dips here. So bought at 24.97. So as long as we're holding above 25.60 here, we're still looking good. Since it's looking really strong, like I bought the shares as it was coming back up. Yeah, just because of how irrationally strong it's been. So trying to get a position if it did come back up here, and we're selling off down to 24.50. So I took off half as it dropped. We'll see if it gets bought back up. I'm seeing a little bit more selling coming in, so sell that off for now. This is better. Now we're getting a decent setup here. On the 1 minute, a break over 24.75 would be good. On the 5 minute, I mean, on the 5 minute, we still have room to consolidate, so there's really no good setup on the 5 minute at the moment. So just kind of focus on this 24.75 level as we come up back through here on the 1 minute. So it's pushing up right now. See if it holds. So buy a few shares here. We want the 1 minute candle to hold above 24.73. So, and the 1 minute candle, you know, has room back down to 24.30 here. So we'll see if we get chopped out again. This is technically, if it doesn't come back and hold above 24.73, then it's going to be a false 1 minute breakout. I do see a bunch of selling coming in, so I don't know how likely it is we're going to hold up here. Yeah, so this might be, you know, shorts coming back in after it thinks we hit this high. And this is, you know, kind of on the daily chart again. There was indications that 25 was going to be, you know, big resistance point here. Sold off half as we dipped on this 1 minute. If we continue dipping, I'll sell off the other half. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So, yeah, on the daily chart, you could see that 25 had some resistance. Since it's been so strong, I took a couple trades that I thought could, you know, pan out as it pushed down here through 24.70. I bought on a pushback up through 25, since we've seen that happen a few times here. Candles go red and then immediately push back up and turn green. So I took a few shots down here. Didn't end up working out. False 1 minute breakout. So now we might want to wait for a 5 minute setup. The 5 minute is still holding above 24 though. We still look alright. So the 1 minute breakout here is 24.40. If we push up on the 1 minute and then hold above this, that's really good. It seems to be encountering quite a bit of resistance coming up there. So yeah, we'll give this one a second on SKT. 5 minute candle closes in a minute and a half. But it looks like the 1 minute is pushing back up here. A lot of resistance. So now if this 1 minute candle closes below 24.40, that's a second 1 minute false breakout, which is definitely a bad indicator, but we're on decreasing volume as we come into the red, which is good. So ideally maybe we want to wait for a 5 minute setup on this. 5 minute high being at 24.79. So we got 1 minute left here. See how this candle shakes out. And if we get a nice 5 minute break and we hold above this 24.79 level, I feel like since this stock has been so strong, and there seems to be at least some reason why it's going up. You know, the short float's 75% right now. So yeah, if we come up through 24.79 in the next 5 minute candle, then be a good time to load up on shares here. And as far as other things on the watch list, nothing really seems to be very much, so definitely the one to watch right now. Alright, 5 minute candle just closed. So we don't really want to see it push down here. Yeah, we'll see if it bounces off view up, but we don't want to see this 5 minute candle. If you know, if it was strong right now, the 5 minute candle would immediately come back up through 24.79. It's kind of struggling to stay above $24 right now, which is not great. Some resistance in the 25 area on the daily chart. What did we hit up here? 25.69. Yeah, so 25.74. On the daily chart, there's a pretty big peak that pulled back. There's a few more, but I guess the next big one is 26.73 right after that. So another kind of level to be aware of. Yeah, so I ended up giving back, more than half of what I made on the move up, on this move back down, trying to take some trades on it, expecting a rebound. That did not work out. So want to get a nice setup for the next one. And the setup right now on the 5-minute is looking like that 279 level, 280 level. Five-minute is holding above VWAP right now. So at least we're looking good there. The 1-minute, no longer looking crazy extended anymore. We're essentially back at VWAP, so everything seems to have leveled out a little bit. So the break over 24 on the 1-minute might be a nice place to buy if it continues the upward movement. I would like to see, I think right now the high of this 5-minute candle is 24.08. So I'd like to see it break above 24.08 and hold above that level if I'm going to take a trade on it. So the moves so far in this stock have not been crazy volatile. So sometimes on these lower float stocks, you want to buy going into the level with the expectation that it breaks, because sometimes when these levels break, it'll spike up like 30, 40 cents or something, and you want to be in for that move. And you don't want to, have to move your cost basis up 30 or 40 cents and buy in afterwards. On a stock like this that's higher float and has been moving, in much smaller candles, I want to see it come up over 24.08 and be able to hold it. Because I don't expect when it breaks over 24.08 there's going to be a massive move. I think it'll probably just grind up above 24.08, kind of hover around it for a bit, and then make another move up if it's going to. So 5-minute candle ending in a minute and a half. Current 5-minute high is this 24.08. 1-minute candle just bounced off VWAP. So it just broke over 24.08. It's kind of hovering just above it. See if it holds up. Seems to be holding okay here. So I'll try to take some shares on the bid, like as it pushes back down, so my cost basis is a little better. And now, again, stop pretty tight. If we drop below, $24, past $23.99, I'll probably sell off. And then in 30 seconds, the next 5-minute candle starts. And then we want to see the 5-minute candle make a quick push up through the high of this candle. So we're selling off here. I'll sell off for the time being. I was hoping that this 1-minute candle high, or the new high for the 1-minute candle would hold up for the last 30 seconds before this next 5-minute candle started, and then we'd get a nice move. But we're still looking okay as long as we hold above VWAP, and the 5-minute candle's about to start. So yeah, now the place to. Yeah, all right, so we're folding over a little bit, unfortunately. Yeah, so now that it's gone below VWAP, probably going to have to chill out before we take another trade on this. Very unfortunate. So, yeah, when I bought up the first time, since there wasn't really a good pullback here, I bought with very few shares. As it pushed up through 25, I bought with a few more shares, or at 24.50, I believe. As it pushed up through 24.50, I bought a few more shares, um, and then sold them off up in between 25 and 25.50 as it was pulling back. So not a ton of profit on the way up, and then I took a few shots on the way down just because of how strong this stock has been this morning, hoping that we would get some return in volume here, but didn't end up happening. So I'll just wait for a better setup. But gave back most of my profits on the way down. So what are you gonna do? That's sick. What's going on? My Olive Gardens just went down for a second. Um, yeah, I mean I have no idea at 9 if it starts coming back up, and it's between 24 and 25 as it's coming into 9 o'clock, and we get some more volume. I could definitely see it. Um, but we're just gonna have to wait and see. So RETO just popped up, but seemingly has pulled back. Um, I wasn't really watching it as we were looking at SKT, but it's a lower price stock, not a ton of volume. But if volume comes back into it and pushes back up above $2, we'll see if we could take a trade on it. 24.50 or 24.59 on the way up or the way down. If it was on the way up, then good for you. You probably made a full dollar on your shares. Um, but yeah, I took a few shots on the way down, just thinking that it would potentially be strong and come back up. And then on this 5-minute candle, I probably should have waited. If we look on the charts here in SKT, so I took a trade here on this 1-minute candle as it broke above. This was the last 1-minute candle of the prior 5-minute candle, thinking that we break above the previous 1-minute high, and then the 5-minute candle will have continuation up. The 5-minute candle, unfortunately, false breakout in the 1-minute, drop back down, and then the next 5-minute candle just continued dropping. So really, I was like I think I was a little too excited to take the trade on that. I think I probably should have waited until there was actually a 5-minute setup, because the 5-minute setup did not end up happening or like anything even close to it. So sometimes it's better, like if the 5-minute setup had worked that time, I would have been in at a better cost basis. But you know, it's usually better to wait for, especially after a few false 1-minute breakouts have happened. Wait for that good 5-minute breakout, and you're sure that the move is starting before you get into it. Otherwise, things like what just happened happen. You take a shot on the 1-minute after there's already been a couple, 1-minute false breakouts. It's false breakout here, and then a third false breakout. So probably should have been a little bit more aware of that. But I was thinking that, it had the short float or the short squeeze behind it, and that maybe we'd get the push back up. Now, highest volume candle so far is a red candle, so it's going to have to make a pretty significant move back up before I'm willing to trade it. But really, it's still the highest gapper this morning. Not really too much else happening. Like I said, RETO had popped up here, but um, it's not really holding. It came up, tapped 2, and then has pulled back, and it's also on very, very light volume. So yeah, you cannot trade options pre-market. So RATO just popped up through 2 on volume. Let's see here. RATO. A 13 million share float. SVBI also just popped up. But SVBI on super, super light volume. Yeah, it's nothing. So RETO is starting to make a little bit of a move here. Maybe we'll take a trade on this. But again, you know, big, nice volume on this 1 minute. Even though it had good volume, though, it only ended up moving the stock about 20 cents. And we're seeing a little bit less volume in this next candle, and greater red volume right now. I like to see nice, clearer, increasing volume, nice move coming in. SLGG just popped up, and I know a few people traded that yesterday, but actually, no, yeah, it's not looking good. Why did this even pop up? I feel like maybe there was like some rogue buy order that popped it up for a second. Yeah, definitely not looking good right now. RETO just had a nice green candle, but then followed by a red candle with pretty decent volume. So I probably wouldn't take a trade on this. Again, you need to look for these clear moves, like a stock that pops up like this, and within the first few candles of it popping up, you get a really big sell-off candle with high volume. Really not ideal. Like as the stocks are popping up, you want to see momentum coming into it. You want to see more people buying. But I mean, we're seeing it right now, so now we need to wait for a little bit of a pullback on this. So if it pulls back on lighter volume, and then we get the pushback above 223, and it might be one to buy here. But we'll see what this next candle does. And also, this is slightly higher float. It's got 14 million share float, so it's not going to be moving as much as some of the other stocks that we've traded. And yeah, like I said, like you're already seeing selling on some of these candles. Another red candle on high volume with 15 seconds left on it. Just don't love that. On the daily here. The daily. Oh yeah. Okay, so yeah, I'd be kind of hesitant to buy this because within the last 2 weeks it popped up to $3.64. So it popped up to $3.64 within the last 2 weeks, and then pulled back all the way from 364 down to 214. So I would think that there's a lot of people who are holding from up there who are now seeing it pop up again and want to try to break even or make back the 30% that it just moved, and they're just trying to bail out. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to take a trade on this. If it gets further up, if it gets closer to the all-time high, if it starts popping up past 280, then the next resistance is at 370 or 367 on the daily. So maybe if it pops up past 280, I'd think about taking a trade on it. Otherwise, yeah, I'm probably going to hold off just because probably a bunch of bag holders trying to get out. Yeah, and even if this is like, popping up on news, like that the pop was not super significant on pretty light volume. $10 million sales contract. Guess that's a lot. Yeah, I mean, $10 million sales contract for a stock whose market cap is, on the order of, well, I guess this morning it was only like $20 million market cap. Now it's closer to 30 million, which makes sense. They got a $10 million sales contract. Yeah, SVBI still, still high on the scanner, but like just no volume. It's not really doing anything. Pulled back its move completely, so not something to look at really. We still got SKT on the other chart over here. Has pulled back pretty significantly below view up, so yeah, I wouldn't take a trade on this until it came back up, close to this 5-minute candle up here, which is like 23.82, so closer to $24 is when I'd start thinking about taking a trade on it. But it seems like it's still going down, so really not something I'm super interested in. And the only thing else this morning that seems to be moving at all is RETO. So we'll keep these two up on watch, but I don't really have super high hopes for either of them, to be honest. Yeah, now the only thing that's moved up above 25% today is SVBI, and it's just, yeah, it's moved up on super light volume and isn't really doing much. You hate to see it. Yeah, really nice, like, grinding move on SKT though. We started at 6:45 in the morning, down at $18, $19, pushed all the way up to 25. I didn't take a trade on this until it was coming up through 24. So I was a little late getting ready this morning. But yeah, I mean, if you got in on it down here, it's really nice. Like, pretty much just like a straight move up, even on the 1 minute. Barely any pullbacks. Kind of choppy first candle, but if you bought in here, I mean, just, yeah, it's great move. Yeah, and like I said, sometimes you only get one of those a day, so chill out. See if we see anything else that pops up on the scanners, anything else that's moving, but uh, at least in the last week or two, we've only seen really one stock make decent move. We have seen some stocks make big moves, but kind of like be a lot more choppy about it, which you don't really want to trade. Because then when you have your set levels for like selling and buying, if all of a sudden it drops through the floor 30 cents, and you're like, well, I have to get out, and then you sell off and it immediately rebounds. It's just annoying. Trading super choppy, or super choppy stocks. Yeah, so you want to look for things with nice moves like this. This one is making a nice move straight down, so the people shorting it are very happy right now. Yeah, and it hit 25.69. I kind of talked about this before, but if you look on the daily, you go back to when it was up at this level, you can see that there's a pretty significant peak back here where it popped up, nice 2 green days in a row, pulled back, and then the next day it sold off completely at 25.75. That's just about what we hit today. And then I would imagine we would encounter some resistance at 26, so we have another peak like that here. And then right after that we have 26.75, which is the next level of resistance. So if we do end up coming out just a couple, or if it does end up breaking out, later today. Just a couple levels to kind of be aware of. So, take profit into those levels. If it does end up breaking through and seems like it's holding above, you can add back to your position, but just places to be careful of. I'm going to grab some water real quick. I'll be right back. I've returned. Anyway, while we're sitting here, if anyone is in the chat that's new or, random, check out the scanners. Go to oliveguardians.com. You can, see we got low float, medium float, high float, anything moving above 25%, which is what I usually look at. So when I wake up in the morning, I check this out to see if anything's moved, aftermarket yesterday or pre-market today. And then I have the movers window open, which is anything that's moved up more than 8% in the last 5 minutes. So most of the time you're seeing, lower float stocks that are being actively traded, or occasionally, medium float, high float stocks that have really big news that, pop up almost immediately. And those are the two that I usually watch. There's also the fallers, which is things that have gone down, more than 20% on the day. So if you're looking at, something that drops significantly and is maybe looking at making a rebound, I might change that from 20% to maybe 10%. Since a company dropping or a stock dropping 25% is pretty significant. Yeah, so SKT, pump drop are coming back up a little bit, but still, holding below VWAP. Just retraced over 50% of the move that it's made. So at least in my experience and from what I see other people say online and stuff, usually when you see a stock make a move in pre-market, you want to see it hold, at least 50% of its move. Really, you want to see it hold 75% of its move. So when it pulls back, you want to see it hold above a certain level, right? And it's now you can see that we moved all the way up to 26 and just dropped all the way down to 21. So, it didn't really hold its move very well at all. And I think that's an indication that the trend is reversing and it's probably going to come back down to where it was. Especially if it's been, consolidating below VWAP on large volume. It's just, I would say be careful with this stock. Unless it starts coming up and, pushes above VWAP and even gets above $24, I don't think I'd take a trade on this. If you wanted to continue its trend, even if it dropped down to $23, it still would have held the majority of its move, even though it dropped below VWAP. It could easily reclaim that and then push back up, and then this 5-minute candle is above 23.81. So if it held above 23, I would say we're still looking good. But the fact that it dropped so far, over 50% of its move back down, I just don't love the way it looks right now. And the volume is just killer. Highest volume of the day on the 1 minute, a red candle. Highest volume of the day on the 5-minute is technically a green candle, but it's a green candle that hit high of day and then pulled back 50% of its move. So it's not the kind of green candle that you want. So when you see a green candle with a really big wick on top, and it closes with a really big wick on top, that usually indicates a reversal of sentiment on the stock, or a reversal of trend, because it got bought up a ton, but even though it made a big move, it immediately sold off. So it's the same thing when you see it the other direction. If you see like this first green candle here, or one of the first green candles here, it looks like it sold off quite a bit, 50% of the move in the previous green candle, but then it got bought back up. So this is a good sign. This is an indicator of strength. A candle like this is an indicator of weakness. And then if even worse, it pushes back down and becomes a red candle with a really big wick. They have like some fancy name for it. I forget what it is. It's like falling star or something. That's like a super bad sign. um, that's definitely what you don't want. If like one of your biggest movement candles pulls back its entire move and even potentially ends red, yeah, it's really not a good sign. So me and one of my friends are going to attempt to make trading bots this month, and then see who makes a better one by running it all month next month. So I've been trying to think of like ways that I can convert the way that I trade currently into bot form. And yeah, I don't know. It's just like it's very difficult to put into words sometimes. I guess exactly the reasons why I'll buy or sell somewhere, and it also requires like complete information. So I need to make sure I have all the information about like 1 minute candles high and low. I need to write a whole bunch of stuff to make sure if I'm like being encapsulated by the previous like high green candle. So like being encapsulated by like the previous candle is really nice. So um, take for example on the 1 minute, back here. So we had a green candle move up. So it pulled back a bit and then moved up, which is nice. So the pullback was completely encapsulated by the green candle before it, which is a good sign. And then we had the next red candle, push back down, but this is completely encapsulated by at least the full move of the candle below or before it. Not exactly the body, but also the tail here. So because it's fully encapsulated by the candle behind it, we're still looking very good. It hasn't made a move outside of the bounds. And then the next move that was made pushed up through the highs, which is, even better. And this is like a really good indication to buy. So you'll see stocks that are, trading with really nice moves. You'll see them, make patterns like this, where it's just like straight up, even candles that made pullbacks or pushed down a bit stayed completely encapsulated by the candles behind them, which is nice. So yeah, this stock was trading really, really good. Yeah, so I've definitely seen stuff like that as well, where it's like literally just like make a bot that like scalps. It's just like every time you see a stock getting close to uh either like high of day or like a whole dollar resistance level. So most of the time when you see stuff break through like here, like it broke through 25 and it made pretty much an immediate move up 20 cents. And with lower float stocks, you'll see that on like on the full dollars. So if it breaks through $2, it'll immediately move up to $2.10, or breaks through $5, maybe it'll move up 15 cents or something. So I've seen ideas like that, and then just like use the similar criteria to what I have for my scanners. So it's like as long as it has sufficient volume, has moved up a certain percent, like look for areas where you could potentially try to get nice trades, like consolidating between 80 cents and a whole dollar. If it starts pushing up through 90 cents, like buy it for the expectation of the move up through the dollar. But then even so, like even if you're trading something like that, you still need to have all of the information because you want to know like what your exit is. So and like in some cases it might have immediately moved up, like, 70 cents in the last 1 minute candle or something, and it's pushing towards a whole dollar. And then if you buy there, like theoretically, you could still be in trend by dropping 50 cents, which, is not spectacular. So I'm probably gonna keep the stops on my bot like real tight, uh, and I'm probably gonna keep the stops either way pretty tight. And I'm gonna go for like an idea of like trying to keep like my profit loss ratio. So it's like if I'm buying going into a whole dollar, like I want to keep my stop at like 10 cents, and I want to keep my loss at like 5 cents or something. So at least even, I mean, it's going to be sort of unrealistic since I don't think we're not going to use real money for the first month that we're using it. So you're not going to get the experience of placing an order and not having it fill or get filled at a worse price or something like that, um, which happens literally all the time. So be a little unrealistic in that sense, but hopefully realistic enough to see how they would do. Just paper money trading. And then if they end up doing well, then we'll try to see if they can do it with real money. And yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to look it up because I assume that there's a ton of math that goes into like if your bot paper trades and does well, then you can kind of insert like an automatic loss that you would potentially take for putting in real orders. And I assume that there are things out there that can do that. So it's like kind of simulate putting in a real order, like how much loss you'd expect buying on the bid and the stock moving or something like that. So we can kind of like account for the not realistic part of paper trading. But we'll see how it goes. Got a month to make the bot. So at some point, like when I start actually writing it and getting it going, maybe I'll show it on stream and see what trades it decided to take on the day and what trades I decided to take, and see how we can compare and see which one of us made the wrong or right decisions. And yeah, not really too much going on right now still. SKT, pulling back even further. This is kind of what I was worried about, where it seemed like it started making a little bit of a rebound, but I mean, it had already pulled back such a significant amount of its move. Like once you pull back that much, there are people who are still holding, and as soon as they see it come up even a little bit, they're like, I gotta get out. It's just like it's time. Like it doesn't look like it's gonna be moving up to the highs. It came up 50 cents and then immediately started pulling back again. Like I just gotta bail, and then that's when you get these big red candles like this, where it's like slight rebound, like looking good, and then as soon as this starts pulling back, everyone's like, oh god, I was really hoping it would go up. Well, I might as well just get out now while I still can. And you could see like this is very light volume candle as compared to the rest of the candles on the day, but it's one of the biggest red candles that we've seen. So that kind of indicates that literally no one is buying in that scenario. It's all just selling. There's no one sitting on the bid trying to buy. It's just like going through the floor. Like no one's trying to buy dips on this at this point. It just dropped out. So I find it very unlikely that SKT will start coming back up. Yeah, I mean, and everything else has dropped off the scanners. SVBI, the sole survivor out here, but it's terrible, absolutely horrible volume. Made a nice gapping move here on like the lightest volume, and then immediately sold off. So presumably this is going to drop off our 25% scanner in the near future, just because it seems like it's just continuously selling off. And nothing to do except just chill out here. Such nice trades on a SKT this morning. If you were in early, I don't know when this actually popped up in my scanner, Take a scroll back here. Did this pop up? Did it really not pop up until 7:13? I feel like that's pretty late. I guess it was really light volume originally. I feel like it should have popped up earlier than that. LIZI and XSPA just popped up. So just check those out. I know LIZI is like one of those things that is just like at least once a week this thing pops up. I don't know. I guess it's on volume, or it's on news today. Partnership with automotive intelligence technology. But I mean, popped up on essentially no volume, so we're gonna have to wait for this thing to get some more volume coming into it if we're gonna do it. But yeah, you can see that this thing popped up. Over the last month, it's come up from $4 all the way up to 17. So, and now we're back at 9. So we're probably gonna hit some patches of resistance on the way up. Maybe at 1064 here, and then if we come up even further, $13, maybe a little bit here, but these aren't huge candles, so I wouldn't think that there'd be much resistance in this area. But yeah, another one where it's like you look back the last 3 weeks and there's infinite bag holders on this. It popped up to $17, and then I mean, look at all this buying here. 60 million shares of volume. Absolutely ridiculous, coming up through $12 up to $17, and then super light volume all the way down here. So I assume there's just millions of shares being held by people. Well, I guess it's a lower float stock. Hundreds of thousands of shares being held by people who bought it up here at $17 and are just waiting for a time to offload it. So not super interested in that until it starts coming up quite a bit more. XSPA came up on no volume and immediately sold off. So another one that popped up in the recent past here that just pulled back the entirety of its move. So this, like so many big red candles, this just does not look like something you would want to trade. Looking very weak. Check out some of these meme stocks for the morning. Let's see, GameStop kind of holding, closed at like whatever 120, 123, 124 yesterday. Pretty much holding the same exact level. Really no volume coming into it. Premarket kind of made a move up here, but immediately pulled it all back. So, not looking spectacular. Check it out on the daily chart here. I mean, like, we are kind of in a period of consolidation on the daily chart. Can't see that. Camera. Yeah, I mean, it made this nice move up to 200, pulled it back, dipped below it, but then held above 100, and now we're slowly moving up. So it's like, we kind of got like an ascending wedge happening here. So draw some little lines. So we want to try to get a break of one of these sides. We'll see how this opens this morning, when we get our new daily candle starting. But yeah, I mean, I assume as soon as we break out of one of these, since we seem to be consolidating, tighter and tighter every day, then we'll get a nice move in whichever direction it moves up into. So today might be the day. I mean, really, like I said, tighter and tighter consolidation every day. This candle is kind of an outlier. It just went insane and then pulled it all back. So I'm really looking at like the consolidation in these 4 candles in the past 4 days. Yeah, so I mean, Definitely one to watch today. I would say this thing could definitely make a move in one direction or the other. So, if you wanna buy it, keep an eye out for it, and we'll see if we can break above these lines here and then hold above it, we could be looking really good. Could be looking really good. And what else we got? I haven't really looked at AMC very much, but AMC seems to have pulled back some more. I was hoping that it was gonna, it went another thing like GameStop, went crazy. My hands here, it went absolutely crazy. Pulled back quite a bit. Looked like it was maybe gonna make a comeback here, but now seemed to be folding down a little bit. So another one to watch. It's kind of like sympathetic with GameStop. So if GameStop starts going crazy, AMC might also end up making a move too. So definitely want to keep an eye out for it. We'll see if we get any movement on either of these today. And I know Rocket was going crazy the last couple days, but I think yesterday it pretty much pulled back the entirety of its move. Yeah, so look on the daily chart. $26 up to $43. Next day opened at 37, spiked up close to 40, and then ended the day at $28. So it's just absolutely brutal. Yeah, just a crazy move and then an immediate sell-off. So not really much to be watching on that one. Like, it would have to make a move way far back up if we're going to take a trade on it. Like, we would want to see. So the day that Rocket actually went up, we saw it pop up on our scanners, which is like fairly unusual for a higher float stock like that. That it was moving up, more than 8% at any given time. Similar to like when GME was going crazy, we saw it pop up on the scanners. So if we do see either of those stocks pop up on the scanners, that might be an indicator that we're seeing like a lot of volume coming back into it. Maybe the shorts are getting squeezed out again. But yeah, until then, probably just one to watch. $5-minute. Yeah, besides these, nothing going on. Talk about these nice SKT setups here on the 5-minute as we were coming up this morning. God. So my scanner said it caught it around 7:13. 7:13. 7:13 just made this high, and then started making this 1-minute pullback. Yeah, and it just would have been, so if you were watching it at this period, as it broke back up on the 1-minute breakout here through 21.26, this thing just moved perfect. Nice move up all the way up to 22, consolidated. As it dropped through here, I might have taken off half my shares, or maybe given it a little time to try to make a rebound. Made another nice move, pushed up to 22.70. Kind of pulled it back. I definitely would have taken shares off here as this was pushing lower. But then on this next 1-minute breakout, we could have added back, and then this was just a straight line. This thing was just grinding. And on the 5-minute, it looked amazing the entire way through. Even this one red candle was just barely red. It's really excellent movement. And it seems to be making a move back up, but like I said, I'm not going to take a trade on this until this comes back up significantly. Yeah, we took a few trades on SKT. I think we were up like close to $20 at one point. I took a few trades on the way down, expecting a bounce, and I got wrecked twice on two different 1-minute false breakouts. The second time, I should have waited until we got a clearer 5-minute move. I was looking at this chart here. So as we were coming into this, we were pushing up, holding above VWAP, looking really nice. I took a trade for the 1-minute breakout here, and this was the last minute of the 5-minute candle, hoping that we'd break through on the 1-minute, and the next 5-minute candle would immediately break through the previous 5-minute high. Yeah, and then we just sold off completely, and I sold as it was coming down here. So, lost the majority of what we gained on the way up, unfortunately, but still technically green on the stock today. And we just passed 8:30. Nothing really popped up. I said LIZI and XSPA popped up on the scanners, but really light volume. Both of them having made moves in the last 2 weeks, and were significantly lower than their recent highs. So just as soon as they popped up, people started selling into it, trying to get trying to make back some of the money that they lost in the last couple weeks. And yeah, kind of killed the pump there. You guys looking at anything good today? Got any stocks you got on watch? Because currently everything that I'm watching is just moving sideways or dropping. How's the market as a whole today, I guess, too? SPY looking. So SPY is down from its close, and also down yesterday, with pretty significant red volume here in the last 20 minutes of the day. So SLGG, I was actually watching it. Yesterday we were watching it because it looked like it made a nice move. So this is yesterday. Made a nice move, and then popped up at 7 o'clock here. Kind of popped up a little bit more, but still was holding below its pre-market high, and then immediately sold off. Like at this point, as we were coming through 8, and it was kind of just moving sideways, and there was no volume in it, I wasn't super interested in it. I wanted to see, I wanted to see a move back above the high of day, if I was going to take a trade on it. But then it ended just pulling back close to the open, and then at 9:20, I don't like taking trades on anything between 9:20 and 9:30. So I didn't end up taking a trade on this, but it actually made a nice move in the beginning of the day, and then pulled back very quickly. And then after market yesterday it went crazy. I don't know if there was like additional news after market yesterday. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even TD says not seeing news, so unclear why it jumped up so high yesterday. Early morning, no volume, and then a big sell-off coming in. So this thing would have to move back up, similar to what I said yesterday. It'd have to move back up closer to its high of day if I was going to take a trade on it. I did not see that rumor, Joe. Is that Wall Street Bets exclusive info right there? Let's check out Wall Street Bets. With an ice cream cone and a frog. Yeah, I see, like his whatever cryptic tweets. But no, I haven't seen anything like legit. But sometimes these Wall Street Bets people are right. So he used to work at McDonald's and a frog. Nice. That'd actually be crazy. I was talking about GMA earlier. I mean, so you think SLG? Wait, you think SLGG is gonna buy GameStop, or you think GameStop's gonna buy SLGG? Oh yeah, GameStop buying SLGG. That makes more sense. She used to work at McDonald's and a frog. Yeah, that would actually, I could see that. Um, this is like some kind of like competitive gaming stock, right? Esports thing. Uh, I would say that's not out of the realm of possibility. Also, I mean, it is moving up with seemingly no news, so either someone knows something that the rest of the market doesn't. Which I mean, GameStop's got a lot of extra money right now, so I could see them trying to do something like this. They're moving into their man. That would actually be great for GameStop. They had esports teams as well. That would be really cool. Get some more advertising out there. I can see it. I can see it. So that means we have to be vigilant because if GameStop is buying SLGG and the news comes out on it, SLGG is gonna go nuts. So we should probably keep an eye on that. You see it popping up on the scanners today, maybe check the news on it as it comes through. Because that would be crazy. I mean, it's already moved up. But it closed? It closed 2 days ago, just below $4, and then it hit a high of 7.59 today. So nearly a 100% move in the last 2 days on no news. That's that is kind of weird. I would love it, dude. I would love it if GameStop bought SLGG. But I'm not going to trust the rantings of a Wall Street bet lunatic. Yeah, that's the thing. Sometimes these crazy people are right. You never know. But yeah, I mean, so I'll definitely keep it on watch. If I see it pop up on the scanner today, I'll definitely take a trade on it. Um, Hopefully, if news does come out on it, I have to assume that there's some kind of news on it, or else it probably wouldn't have moved up 100%. Like, there's no earnings. There's literally nothing. So I wouldn't be surprised if news came out on it at some point, in the next week or two. Um, yeah, just keep an eye on, and see what it is. And anything related to GameStop right now is just like literal gold. So gotta jump on it if it is true. SKT popped up, pulled back. Unfortunate. So yeah, I mean this SKT's looking super dead right now. SLGG, definitely keep an eye on it though. I'll keep it on watch today, at the very least, since it has made a pretty nice move, and also, in the last 2 weeks, we've seen almost no stocks that have had multi-day continuation. All of the stocks that we've seen that have popped up have pretty much just continued selling off, and they just absolutely no follow through on them. Um, so it's good to see a stock, even though it has no news, it has moved up 2 days in a row. So maybe we'll get some continuation on this thing if we see volume coming into it. A really nice one though. And also some of these lines from yesterday kind of holding true to today, I guess. This first candle yesterday was at hit 613, immediately pulled back, and then this thing couldn't really hold above 6 very well. Now we're seeing it, consolidate in this same region, just above 6. Very similar to the levels that were resistance and support when we came into yesterday. So if it makes a break over this, obviously this is a pretty big sell-off here, which is unfortunate on very high volume. But if we start breaking up through VWAP again, maybe we'll take a trade on it. I wish SKT had held up a little better, since it actually had, a reason to pop up. It's heavily shorted stock, made a really, really nice move this morning, and then just literally just went straight down. Made a nice move in the other direction. So the shorts were, longs were loving it between 7 and 7:45, and then the shorts just had like the most perfect price action on the way down. Nothing you could do about it. And now there is officially no stocks in the market that have gone up more than 25% today. SVBI just came back on the list, but we had a few stocks today that were looking really promising. RATO had the potential to come back up, even though it had recently made a move and pulled back. But if it had come back above $3, then we could have started making a move higher. Yeah, so there's RATO, SKT. What else we got? SNGX. I feel like it was moving earlier today, but it's completely dropped off the face of the earth. Yeah, pretty nice move. Pretty nice move here earlier today. Went from $1.50 up to $2.35, but then just immediately pulled it back. It's a lot of what we're seeing. A lot of usually good move, nice like 30-40% move immediately, and then we just see the red volume come in, just start selling off. I didn't really look at the daily on this, but I wouldn't be surprised if it looks similar to some of the other stuff that we saw. Yeah, just made a bigger move a few weeks ago, pulled it entirely back, and then as it came up, like the bigger move. All right, here. Yeah, the move a few weeks ago went to a high of $2.48 here. And you could see that as we were pushing up to that level is when we started dying. So it's the same level that these two candles essentially were at when we started folding over. Broke through it, immediately pulled back, couldn't hold above it. So just another case of recent history on the daily chart holding true for the moves we made today. And there might have been people back here who have bought a bunch of it, and then I don't know what happened on this day, but it seemed to have gapped down significantly. $2 down to. Actually, I don't know. Was this a split? No, I don't think this was a split. But it went from $2, $2.80 to $1.40. It literally lost half its price overnight. So there might have been people from holding from here who are looking to sell off as we come up into some higher levels. But yeah, unfortunately, did not turn into anything that we wanted to trade. Yeah, it's just kind of a trend the last couple weeks where we see some stuff popping up. Most days there's one stock that gives a nice move, and you have to be very vigilant because it can start moving without you, and then you lose your good entry point, and then you just get wrecked. Which is kind of what happened to SKT this morning. I didn't really start trading it until it had already made the majority of its move. So, lost out on that one. Very sad. And it seems to have been the only one to make really solid move this morning. So tomorrow I'll try to be a little bit more on top of my game. Try to catch whatever's coming up between 7 and 8 o'clock. But hopefully now, we got 6 minutes to 9 o'clock, and then at 9 o'clock, maybe we'll see some more stocks popping up on some news here. I would say in the last week or two, we haven't really seen anything too significant start coming up at 9 o'clock. So I'm not like holding my breath, but I'm going to keep an eye on the scanner. We have a few stocks on watch that maybe they'll start making a move back up. SKT, sort of has the potential to do that, but it would need to be a significant move, and we would need to see a lot better volume coming into it. But it's still a heavily shorted stock, so it still has the potential to make the move. And then we could potentially watch SLGG. If it comes back up closer to the $7 level, we could take a trade on it. So between 8:55, we just hit 8:55. Between 8:55 and 9, you sometimes see increasing volume on some of these stocks. And then 9 o'clock, maybe we'll see some follow through, or maybe we'll just see a new stock pop up. I think that would be the ideal scenario this morning, because all of the things that we've been watching I wouldn't be willing to take a trade on them until they make a more significant move up. Um, so I think the ideal scenario for me right now is if we had another stock pop up on news at 9 o'clock, and then we can try to get a move on that. And hopefully, if we get some news at 9 o'clock, other traders will see it as well, and then get nice volume on it. Still in our little consolidation here in GameStop. see how this turns out for us. Like I said, I think if this starts moving up and makes a break over 130 up past maybe 140, we could see a move back up 200, which would be just great. Seem to be consolidating quite tightly. At least in this last stretch here. I mean, it looks like it's just been moving sideways so tight in the last few days. It looks like it's ready to make a move in one direction. So you gotta be ready. Maybe it'll happen at the open today. Maybe it'll happen at lunch today. We see just in historically, I guess, in the last month or so, GameStop has been making really nice moves around lunchtime Eastern. Like between 11 and 1 o'clock Eastern. So like you can zoom in here. You could see made this nice move here starting at 11:30. The next day, well, the next day actually looks terrible. So this is a nice move. This was popping up at 10:30, kind of pulled back, but then between 11:30 and 1 here, it made another nice move from 120 up to 132. Yesterday, we didn't really see much of a move in that period, but I think it's just we're consolidating, closer and closer to, I guess, between this 120 and 125 area, or 115 and 130. So, see if we can get the breakout today. Lunch Crew. Dude, I was loving Lunch Crew. Lunch Crew, those guys are sick. They come in every day, help pump up the stock. It's really nice. So maybe if we push up, as we come into lunchtime, maybe as we come into the open, breaking over 130, looking really good for a trade. That's just like ridiculous daily chart here. I mean, just really, really nice here. We'll see it. Maybe today will be the day. I'm just really hoping it doesn't break down. I want it to break up. I'm not holding any GameStop right now. I never usually hold anything overnight, so it's really just going to be, if it starts moving up, I'll buy some. For the expectation for it to move up, back up to this, hopefully 200. There's just like, as soon as it breaks through these levels here, at least in the near term, there's like no resistance between this consolidation period and 200, which is like the last high candle. But it did sell off, obviously, that entire move the day that it made it. So if GameStop does start going up again, I would say that I'm going to be more willing to make smaller trades on it and take profit off than try to hold it up for the infinity squeeze. Also decreasing volume every day, so hopefully today or tomorrow we'll get a high volume day. Get some nice trades on it. And coming up to 9 o'clock now. So now it's time to watch the scanners. So we'll see if anything pops up in the first 30 seconds here as we come into 9 o'clock. Carl just said CCIV. CCIV is looking all right this morning, actually. I would say on the low side for volume. Ooh, but it pulled back significantly yesterday. So yeah, so because of this massive pullback yesterday, I would be afraid that this bounce here is a bounce that's then going to follow into a little bit more of a pullback. Um, on the daily chart, yeah, on the daily chart, CCIV is looking bad. Whew. Thing just pulled back from $64, and not only did it pull back from $64, it gapped down from 57 to 35. And this gap essentially means that like people who are on TD and people who are on Robinhood that are trading it, like people who don't have pre-market trading early in the morning, um, they're still holding. Like they were holding at 57 when it closed. They couldn't really take a trade on it, and then all of a sudden it opened the next day at $35. Like that's not good. I would be afraid of massive bag holders. I don't think this is the end of this dip here. This is yeah, it's definitely a scary place to be on this stock. Really unfortunate. I wonder how that gap happened. That was a rough gap. What day was that? Between February 22nd and February 23rd. Oh, I guess they had bad news. Something just popped up, DFFN, but popped up on. Got volume, but it really hasn't moved very much. So keep an eye on it. It's also a very low price stock. It's actually interesting. News about CCIV going public. Oh, it's a Wall Street Bets on merger. Yeah, so it said it was going like they announced that they were going public on the 22nd, and then like it just like dropped off the face of the earth. That's crazy. Fortunate for those guys. Yeah. How's Tesla doing? I know it was down for a while. Ooh, yeah, Tesla's still not looking good. Whoa. What a daily chart. Look at this thing, dude. How is this possible? Low of 686, high of 870. Is that real? Or is that just like a weird. Yeah, that might have just been like a weird order because that doesn't look true on the 5 minute here. But yeah, I mean Tesla pulling back significantly. Yeah, it's definitely. I mean Tesla had an amazing run. The fact that it's pulling back a little bit now, like I don't think anyone can be mad about that. It's just an absolutely, absolutely insane run. Um, yeah, so it had this low down here, 615. If it pushes that back down below 615, I would expect us to see a pretty significant pullback. People trying to pull out their money. God, yeah, what a run this thing had, man. I would love to invest in Tesla, but like I know it's always just like it's Tesla, like it always goes up. But I would definitely want to wait until it gets back down to earth. Right now this thing's like on Pluto. Just absolutely absurd the numbers that it's selling for. Yeah, what crazy day this was back here too. Like really high. There's like a really high volume spike uh, back here. If I can get it on the thing. So like when the volume came up a ton here in 1218, it was like literally all of the volume was in like the last 1 minute of the day because it was when like it got included into S&P 500, which I thought, you know, me and one of my friends were like talking about this, and we were like, so much volume being pushed, in such a small period of time, you would have thought that it would have had a much more effect on the price, but we just assumed that it was like, some other dealings like dark pool stuff, or like some investment banks were collecting shares to sell to these funds who needed them, and like the at this point, like, like it was already priced in or whatever. But I'd be interesting to hear like the real story behind how like they were able to, I guess, like hide so many orders until this exact last moment, and then all of the orders went through. Like that seems strange to me. Or obviously it's not like the orders went through at that exact moment, but that was when the orders were reported. Because if it had moved 200 million shares in, in the course of 5 minutes, it definitely would have moved the price significantly more than it actually did. So I'll look that up. Look that up at some point. Figure out what the actual story is behind that. But yeah, I mean, nothing really moving this morning. FPRX popped up, but I didn't see it pop up on my movers. It just like popped up to $38. Oh, it's acquisition. Yeah, so when these acquisitions happen, they literally just spike to whatever price the acquisition is, and it's like you have no time to buy or anything. It's just immediately priced at that value before you can even react, because all the bots are just like, nanosecond timing. So yeah, that's why this thing didn't pop up on my movers. It popped up on no volume. So and is yeah. I need to figure out a way on my scanners to, I guess like maybe like set up like filters, so if news does come out that it's like an acquisition for a set price, it doesn't actually show up on the gapping stocks. Because like realistically, it's not really a gapping stock. It's just like that's going to be sit, go to that price, and then it's never going to move from it. There's no trades to make on it. I kind of don't want to like confuse people with when it pops up. FTFT popping up right now. Blockchain technology related software copyrights from China. So I guess Chinese blockchain company, and they just won some copyrights. Kind of popped up on lower volume. Not really doing too much. I feel like I've seen this pop up previously. Yeah, so it popped up earlier this month, all the way up to $11, and now it's sitting at 5. So yeah, I mean, just a ton of these stocks today, where it's just like they pop up, and then you look at the daily chart, and a week ago they were worth twice what they are now. So it's like, you know that there are people who are holding from there, and you know that they're going to try to take profits now that it's popped up a little bit. So it's really just unfortunate. Um, Hopefully, maybe tomorrow, in the next couple of weeks or something, we'll have some new stocks pop up that have news other than the standard stuff that's been out recently. Because it's like every single week we have these COVID vaccine news, like these companies coming out with new data from their COVID vaccine, which they've already released data from their COVID vaccine every week for the last 2 months. So they keep on like pumping up and selling off, pumping up and selling off, and it's just like there are people holding from high up, and they're just never going to get any higher than they did the first time they released news. So it's just really unfortunate. Hopefully, yeah, hopefully we can get some new stocks, get something else that's moving nicely. And I said it earlier, but I think I'm going to put in a new scanner that just scans for low float stock, or not low float, high short float stocks. Um, so even if they're like not moving, at least just have like a scanner that will display the top, whatever top 20 shorted stocks in the market, just in case people are interested in that kind of thing. So I'm gonna probably slap that on this weekend. And yeah, so I mean, 20 minutes to the bell, literally nothing is moving. So I'm probably gonna take off unless this stock that just popped up starts moving. It's very low price stock. News does not look like anything too spectacular. Announces full prepayment of a senior credit facility. Yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah, so next 20 minutes, I don't expect any of the things that we've looked at today to start popping up, just because they've sold off so significantly. And after 9:20 to 9:30, I really don't like taking any trades, so probably gonna hop off here. Unfortunately, not a ton of action this morning, but maybe tomorrow we'll see some stocks pop up and we'll get some good trades. So, hope you guys have a good day. Hope your trading goes well if you're trading into the open. I'll see you guys later.